The altar, she supposed, and on it was Hector.
Is the throne empty? Is the king dead? The empire unpossessed?
Off with his head.
You got me going.
All right, let's get right into it. This is The Dirt. We're doing current events still.
The Dirt Podcast.
So we got a bigger crew here. Who do we got, John?
Okay, so we have Danny
And this is David.
and Steve and Jesse. Right? Say hello, Jesse.
What up?
What up, Stevie? Everybody ready? There we go. We got the whole crew. We're all fam here.
We're going to start off with talking about the 6 blocks in Seattle. The notorious 6 blocks where they don't let cops in. What, Danny, give us some background on that one.
The country of Chaz.
The
Actually,
country of Chaz, yeah.
To be honest, the lunacy is insane, and
They talked about breaking off California, but Seattle did it first.
Yeah, California, it talks about seceding a couple years ago when Trump was elected. It's stupid. No, we shouldn't secede.
Yeah.
You're going to sit there and bitch about the Confederate flag. You can't say you're going to be an independent state.
So, but how did Chaz do it? What's going on there?
Apparently, they just blocked off a bunch of...
Wait, is it Chaz or Chad?
Chaz. Yeah, Charles.
now, okay.
Charles.
Yeah.
That's a nickname for Charles, right? Chaz.
Yeah.
Charles. I'll just call it Charles.
I'm waiting for the Charles in charge memes. Charles in charge of all days and all
Is that the
lives.
new Confederacy they broke away?
They broke away, but it's weird because they're saying no cops. And from some of the stories I've read, I don't know how accurate the reporting is, but there's some rapper in there who claims to... He's running a gang, and they have a bunch of guns. And
He's the
so
chief.
they're the police. So there's just a new police, and
And 3 people have already died.
3 people have died. So obviously it's a bad idea. It's a social experiment gone wrong.
I think they don't have a hospital there.
They don't have a hospital.
They probably have
that's
some
right.
people who have medic training. It's one thing I see with a lot of Antifa protests. is
And they
people
don't
screaming
have a
for medics.
flag.
So
They
it's,
don't have a
so it's
flag
like a
yet.
big Burning Man over there.
Yeah, it's basically just a bunch of crazy people who... I don't know. It's insanity.
So who wants to weigh in on it first? What do you think?
I think it's crazy.
Yeah, I think they took it too far. I think we still need police.
But what do you do? Do you storm in there with like the military? Because
So
we've seen numerous times.
We
it
can have
always
a
ends bad,
Koresh
like, with-
incident,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah,
With Waco,
Waco.
Texas.
well, I guess Trump already told the governor on Twitter to take control of your city, and then they tweeted back, "Get back in your bunker," and they both have a point.
They both have a point. Yes, yes, exactly.
Well, that is crazy.
You can't claim to be a leader when you distance yourself from everything. Like you guys handle it. Talk
I
to your
don't think.
governors.
Yeah, I don't think they planned it out too well.
No.
Like, let's take this over, and then after that, like, oh shit, this worked.
Now we actually have to govern.
Yeah.
and it's actually a lot harder than it looks. Of course, you need police, and believe me, I don't want to shit on police.
If
I
you-
want police to be good too, you know. I don't like these stories any more than anyone else.
If you
does.
lived there, if you lived near that area, would you go check it out for a while?
Oh no.
No, I wouldn't go inside the.
But if you were 20, would you?
No. To be honest,
I would do it if I was 20, maybe. Not now.
not now. You know what? I got kids, and they rely on me to bring in a paycheck. So
What if
And
they?
so it's
What if?
dangerous.
I wouldn't even go to a protest.
What
'cause
if there's
I don't
a
want
Chuck
some
E.
crazy
Cheese?
person to like run into me with a car? Or
What if they
something?
had like a rad Chuck E. Cheese in there and your kids wanted to go?
Yeah, maybe
Their Chuck E. Cheese would be better, right? There wouldn't be regulations.
tickets. You get like a 38 revolver or something.
Yeah, you get actual. Oh man.
Welcome to Chaz. Kind of like Texas Chuck E. Cheese.
How do you get the police not? How do you keep the police out?
I think you do it with assault rifles and weapons and things like
Well,
that.
you have people in there who are innocent. That's the thing.
Absolutely, and the
You can't
businesses,
put charges in there.
the businesses in the local area are actually suing the city because they haven't done anything
They haven't
about
done
it.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything that I've heard about it, I've heard 2 opposite sides of everything. Someone did a report in there and came out saying that all the businesses love it, but then there's hard evidence that they're actually suing. And then I've heard people say, it's chaos and then I've heard other people say they have friends in there and they say it's great. Obviously, it's not great if people are getting shot and you can't do anything about it, and they can't even investigate, huh?
Or when resources run out. What's going to
Yeah.
happen when resources run out? It's going to be.
Oh, there's no like ins and outs.
It's going to be OTS. Only the strong survive. People are going to start
like
taking
Coachella.
stuff from other people, and it's going to, it's going to be like a very failed science experiment. Or
Well, so,
Social experiment, yeah.
what are those called? Oh, communes. Communes have never really worked.
No.
Hippies keep trying to create these utopias and these communes
Yeah.
Well,
without
I mean,
authority.
There's a couple, I'm sure, small, tight knit.
They work for a while, but then they collapse.
They work if you're into orgies. But I mean, I don't know if they work anything more than that. But I'm just saying, it's all about.
And people come and go. Nobody stays for. There's always like
That's
one or
disgusting.
two people who have been there
They
forever.
come and go.
They come
Yeah,
and
well,
go.
I didn't mean like that.
That's what I would call my commune. They come and go, but you better not go. They come and go, but no leave.
Come in, come again.
The thing is, you need law and order. You need governments.
Absolutely, and that.
But every government and every department, as far as police and things like that, military, they need to do better.
Well,
Yeah.
I was like, defund? To me, that just meant to restructure the funding, not take all the funding away.
No.
But for some people, it means that.
defund them entirely.
Yeah,
You can't
that
do
means
that.
like disband.
You can't do that. But like maybe they don't need all the... See, here's what happened. After 9/11, a big portion of money to help fight terrorism went to police. A lot of police departments got stuff they didn't even need. They really didn't, like these big tank assault vehicles to mob down the street.
Wow.
It was pointless because you see these YouTube videos of it. It's like this gnarly, insane tank looking thing. And yeah, sometimes they do need assault rifles and things like that, as we saw with the Hollywood bank robbery. They were outgunned.
That was like
brutal.
heat. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was a
brutal.
long time ago, though.
And that's when they realized they need assault rifles, not just shotguns and
Right.
pistols. And then, but they still got a lot of stuff that they didn't need. And as far as defunding that, if you don't need it, then yes.
So what about the Minneapolis police? And they're talking about disbanding the police force.
That's crazy shit.
That's happened
crazy.
before. Uncle Daryl was telling me that there was a city, and I've heard about. Wasn't there a city that did that already in the past? They disbanded.
Yeah,
the police.
Mayberry.
I know it's been.
Mayberry?
I know it's happened in Mexico. There's
Don't
a
give
town
them
in
a
Mexico
bullet.
where they got rid of all the local
Yeah,
corrupt.
I've heard if it's
politicians
corrupt,
and
you
police.
have to.
Yeah, because they're all in, like.
But-
and then the
Then
town
again,
is like
it's,
guarded by the people.
Mexico's run by cartels and shit like that.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
for
saying.
sure.
They got rid of all the politicians and police that were dealing with that, and now it's all the citizens. They all have these guns, and they guard the city night and day, and it's their city.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's been done in America. I haven't done the research.
Yeah,
but-
it has been. I don't know what city, but it's been done in America.
I think I saw that one. Wasn't that the Three Amigos?
That's right.
Yes, that's right. The 3 minutes they sewed a bunch of costumes. It worked. Santa Poco. That's the town.
You
And it
San
worked
Jose,
out
there it is.
perfectly.
No. This was recently. It was real. Maybe they watched the Three Amigos to get inspired, but I don't
There
know.
we go.
Copycat.
Copycat.
Yeah, that's amazing, though. There's no way they're going to be able to last without police.
Well, no, what happens is that the neighboring police departments kind of fill in
Oh, I see. So the
until
South
they
police.
rebuild a new department. They just are. I mean, they kind of have to start over because their building is burned down. So you got to start over anyways.
How much?
But it was
It's
unanimously
6 blocks. How big?
voted
How
to
much? How
disband.
big is it?
Are we talking Seattle?
Yeah. How big is the?
Oh, it's
City
Just-
blocks.
it's just
so
six
city
blocks.
blocks.
Is a good amount. City blocks.
That's like
It's a little bit.
6 city block party.
Yeah. So
party.
it's.
I don't know.
I
Right
never lived in
here,
the city, so I have no idea. But I know
3
it's a little
city
bit more.
blocks is a quarter mile right here.
Oh, and
I think.
so. It's like Mile Square Park.
Yeah.
More than Mile Square Park and a half.
No, I don't think it's more than Mile Square Park.
Something like that. It's a small portion, but it's a good portion.
That's a good portion.
And I wanted to mention too, Fox News was caught doctoring photos of adding Antifa members into the photos to
So-
make sure the same guy was in every single photo.
It's still unknown. I hear 2 people saying, well, some people say Antifa is who took over the 6 blocks, and then some are saying that's not Antifa.
to be honest, I don't know.
It may
who
have
it
started
is.
like that, but from what I keep hearing, is this rapper guy.
It's a
sort of
rapper
like
guy.
this guy. He's like an amateur rapper.
He's
but
MC,
he's got like a gang,
MC Antifa.
and he's pretty. But I saw him like I think I saw this guy yelling at somebody who was graffitiing a store, like some white kid, and he's yelling at him. He's like, "What are you doing?" But he's also.
What's that?
You just bring your phone to a podcast? Nah, we're just doing music.
Is that me?
Yes. Did you not hear that?
Yeah, I got the headphones on. Wait, hold on. Why is my phone playing music?
Is that your midnight grooves that you play when you get into the bedroom?
Okay, I'll have to edit that out.
I don't know.
Keep that in. It's funny.
Yeah, right? I don't know why it's playing music.
Is that for sexy time later?
For sexy
sexy
time.
time.
Yeah. For fat people make love.
Send me that list. I need a list like that.
Well,
So I think Jesse was gonna tell us a story about something.
So what I was telling John earlier is like, I was saying, with everything that's going on right now with like people getting killed and by cops and shit like that, I don't think all cops are racist, but I do think that they fucking stereotype us for sure.
Profiling.
Profiling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jesse's Eskimo, in case you don't know.
He looks like Big Chief from Street Outlaws.
I was coming out of a Circle K, actually right down the street from me.
In Garden Grove.
Yeah, in Garden Grove.
Garbage Grove.
Me and my friend are coming out of the store. You know, he's got some nachos on his hands, and a gang unit pulled up on us, and he asked us, you know, well, what are you guys doing? My friend was like, not your business or something like that.
Not your business, because he had nachos.
He had some nachos.
I got it.
Well, the cop didn't like it, and he smacked the nachos right into his chest.
What?
You know,
With cheese and everything?
But, you know, just all over.
Damn.
You were there for nacho business.
Yeah,
That's
for
the
nacho
thing.
business.
Yeah,
and it
you know?
I mean, and I get, you know, that he was being like smart ass.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, come on, bro, it was more.
That's freedom of speech still.
It was more.
Yeah,
I think I would have laughed if I was a cop.
It was more
That's
that
a
he
good
got
one.
out, like if he was a gang member, you know what I mean? Like the cop got out, like was like checking us, and I don't. Remember,
He didn't get out and ask
He was
politely.
he was straight like
Yeah,
Devo.
like, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you guys doing over here?
He
Like,
was
we're
was
just
out
coming
looking
of
for
the
a
store.
fight.
He took our chain.
And on top of it, like I don't know what he said on after that. He probably, my friend got pissed off because he got the nachos on him. He said something, and then the cop fucking slammed him right into the bush. He didn't fuck with us, but you know. I just think that like they just take it too far sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that they take
If you don't give them the respect,
their power
some of
beyond to what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
some go out
absolutely.
looking for a fight, and you might find that one if you don't give them any excuses.
I mean, the real question is, did those nachos have jalapenos? Was he Mexican?
No, here's the thing. That's
did
what
it
I'm
end?
saying is that I don't think they're all racist because my homeboy's white.
Oh, okay.
You know, now he was like a cholo dude. You know, he had
Yeah.
a bald head, but you know, he wasn't a gang member or anything like that. He was just skinhead white boy.
Yeah, skin-headed white boy. Yeah.
What's the worst thing that's happened to you guys
Docile,
from
skinhead
with the
white
police officer?
The worst thing?
Yeah.
Ooh, I got labeled for a party I had.
Oh, yeah.
And to be honest, I was being a smartass with the cop. I really was. But there was a sticker on my fridge from this group of like local rowdy white dudes who were like started off as a gang kind of. Anyways, my roommate and his brother, they beat up a guy.
If anybody doesn't know Danny, he's completely not a gang member at
Not
all.
a gang member. Yeah. I tried. You know, I didn't have the money for the dues. So
He's totally into other things, everything else but gang membering.
But what happened was this kid ended up getting beat like an inch from his life by my roommate and his brother who at this out of control party. There was like way too many people there. It was flooding into the street. It was insanity. And the cops labeled us as a gang unit, and they were looking for my roommate, and they were in my house with their guns drawn, kicking in one of my other roommates' doors because it was locked. But other than that, and I've had a few run-ins with the law in my past when I was a little wilder. I've always been respectful, so I've never been messed with, but I have been pulled over for nothing. Like, they pulled me over, they searched my car, they searched us, they talked to my friend, and then
Did
they
they separate you guys out to talk to you?
No,
No,
it
they
was
just
me and
talked
my
to you
friend, and they searched us completely, and you could tell he was training this female officer, and he was telling her, look, search here, sorry.
So
Suck here.
Suck here.
You there.
I was gonna say search and check at the same time. That didn't come out all wrong. So
This is adult, but it's not an X-rated podcast.
Yeah, suck here.
He was telling,
No,
he was
Suck
telling
my
her where
badge.
he was telling her where to search and all that, and then they gave us no explanation. They said, "Okay, you guys are free to go." So obviously they pulled us over, and it was funny because when I was turning, I looked up at my buddy Andy, and I was turning down the street, and this cop made eye contact with me. I go, "Andy, that guy's gonna pull us over."
Yeah, a lot of times you know.
You just know. It was
You
the
lock
first
eyes.
thing
Make eye
I
contact.
said.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I see my rear view. He flips a Yui, and then I got pulled over.
So Danny's Mexican, but he's kind of a
But I look
whitish
Irish.
Mexican,
I
yeah,
look
Irish-looking
Irish.
Mexican.
Top of the line.
Steve, what's the worst thing that's happened to you with the police?
Nothing.
Nothing, not a thing at
And he's
all.
brown as hell.
I did get yelled at by one pretty bad on the highway.
For why?
Well, my son, when he was a toddler, my older one, I remember we were on the road and he had to go to the bathroom and he had to go really bad. So my ex was like, pull over, just to go on the side of the road. I don't want him to, have an accident in his car seat. I'm like, I can't. There's an exit right up the road. But she was insistent. So I pulled over, take him outside. He had stage fright. He was like 2 or 3. She told me, well, you do it, and then he'll follow. I'm like, so
now you're a registered sex offender?
So, of course, this is on the grapevine, by the way. So I did, because I didn't have the balls to say no at the time.
So that's near Bakersfield, or on the way to.
And the CHP just comes flying down the freeway, and then he pulls over and backs up about 100 miles an hour, comes out and just starts getting in my face and telling me, I piss in your backyard, and, just going off on me. I felt like I was in boot camp again. So, yeah, that was like, man, this sucks.
So, John, what's the worst thing that's happened to you with a police officer?
You know what? I'm now to say I've never had a bad run-in with police officers.
Well, they've let you got off with
a lot of stuff, yeah.
You'll smoke a pipe right in front of, like, weed right in front of them.
Yeah, we got a good story about that. So I thought it'd be funny. I came over the island, and I was making a left. And I was coming to make a left. I had to go over an island and through some bushes. And Danny here, he says, hey, you just cut somebody off. So I look in the rear view, and it was perfect timing because he put the lights on. Woo! And I knew, God damn it. Yeah, cut off a cop because I couldn't see the other side of the street. I just went blind. I went through bushes.
Could have been a car on the other side.
Could have been anything. Yeah, anything. It's dumbass kid stuff. Yeah. And he walks up, and of course we're smoking a joint. I tell Danny, don't say anything about weed. Like he was gonna go.
We're trying to light cigarettes to hide the smell.
That's right. We lit some cigarettes to try to hide the smell. No. So
it never does.
He walks up, and I crack the window like a dummy.
Yeah, the smell of matches isn't suspicious at all. People do that all day. They just light matches in their car.
So he says, I smell it, and I roll the window down. He goes, God damn, he's trying to wave it out of his face. It's like, why the fuck would you think you can do that? And I said, well, I got a keychain when I bought the Jeep. I love Jeeps. And it said, go anywhere, do anything Jeep. And so I did it whatever I wanted. And that's when Danny goes, weed. And I couldn't stop laughing.
I said it really under my breath.
And here we are.
Just to make you laugh.
Yeah. But he probably heard it because we were stoned. And here's the thing. He let me go. He said, I got a ticket. Unsafe lane change. Yeah. But our circumstances, the way we're dealt with the police is a lot different from the way Jesse was dealt. And I'll say, sitting at this table, Jesse could be profiled maybe a little more. Because I got a white face. Danny's got a white face. Steve's got a chubby face.
I'd pull over
and
Jesse.
Dave looks like an uber nerd.
If I was a cop, I'd pull over Jesse and tell him to get on the ground.
I would too, but then I would drive away while he's on the ground.
I'd be like, "Where's the gun, homeboy?"
And just kind of laugh like, "How we left the gun."
You get on the ground and just drive away for your enjoyment.
There's been more than once that I've been fucking just pulled over.
Oh, I'm sure.
Shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was coming one time.
Have we ever got in trouble together from the cops? Me and you, except for the time you ran away and got away, and I got in trouble.
No, you got in trouble. I didn't get.
Okay, yeah, that's
no, but we're coming from LA one time. I don't know if these guys stole the car or I don't know what the fuck they did. And I get it that I might mix because I'm Mexican and I look
like a cholo.
Like a Mexican.
and
the tattoos don't help.
I'm tatted too, though, you know.
But I think that just the way I look,
yeah.
I was walking. So here's what happened.
I think you look like that from afar, but when you get up close, then you're like, oh, yeah,
this
cat's
guy's
cool.
A working man, blue collar.
Exactly. What was the name of the video game?
So we get pulled over. We didn't get pulled over. A car pulls in full of they were actually gang members. These dudes were legit gang members.
So you got profiled by the gang members too?
No, not by the gang members. Okay. What happened is they pulled into the car. I was walking past them when they pulled in. Was going into the bath and. When I guess the cops were looking for them, I got out of the bathroom. By the time I came out of the bathroom...
Were you going number 2 or number 1? Okay. Should have pissed on the grapevine. They would have let you go.
I don't want to get caught up like Steve over here. But, I come out of the bathroom, and just being that I was fucking there, and these guys got pulled over in their car, threw me on the floor, and fucking were like, get on the floor with guns and shit.
Yeah.
And I was only probably 16, 17 years old. Fucking, I got lucky that my mom we had just broke down and shit. My mom was on the other side and saw that the cops were there and got me out of there. I would have got arrested with all those dudes for go to the bathroom actually.
Didn't know. Yeah. I actually been put on the floor by the cops. I forgot about that.
Did they frisk you?
No, they didn't. I wish they would. But I chased a guy down that stole from the mall, and I chased him into the school.
Yeah, John used to like to tackle and chase.
Was this in Texas?
No,
Shoplifters.
this wasn't. This was. I forget where I was with my mom. I was a kid, high school, and a shoplifter grabbed somebody's purse and had some clothes and took off running out past me. And the security and cops showed up right away, but they were on a certain part of the street where they didn't see this guy jump a fence and run into a school. So I thought, I seen him. Let's go around the corner, Mom, and see if we see him. And went around the corner, and she's all adventurous, And I ran into the school, and I seen him, and man, I just gave him like football came into mind, and boom, I blew him up, took him to the floor. Now I'm wrestling with this guy on the floor, trying to hold him there for the cops.
That's crazy. Like, you weren't afraid anybody had a gun or a knife?
No, you don't think about that because, you're a stupid ass kid.
Yeah.
I worked for Lucky's
the
too.
Football training.
Didn't you always tackle people at
Yeah,
Lucky's who were
we
stealing?
did it all the time. It was like the Wild West. You could chase somebody down. Finally, one of the guys, he chased down.
Laws now.
I used to
completely change
all the time. I'd chase him down, tackle him.
Nobody, not even security, I think.
Yeah. Now you can't touch them.
Yeah.
But back then, somebody got stabbed because he chased the guy down. The bottle broke. He got cut with the bottle. And so I chased this guy down, and when the cops showed up, he put us both on the ground because he didn't know who was who.
Oh, this is at the mall.
No, now we're in a school. It was at the mall.
Not when you worked at Lucky's, because I was like, were you in the uniform?
Different time, yeah. And I'm wrestling with the guy on the ground, but I heard the guy in the chopper saying something over the loudspeaker, and it was something to do with the kid in the white shirt.
So they thought it was you, or the other guy was the shoplifter.
Yeah, and you know what? The guy wasn't racist because it was a black dude I chased down, and he was like, "Both of you, hey, Salt and Pepper, what are you making out?" Like, what could have been? That would have been an awesome. That would have been an awesome way to get out of it if we were in cahoots and then we wrestle on the ground and it's like he did it. No, I don't think that would work. But anyways, we need a Mini Cooper.
See, the thing with Seattle too is a lot of the cops aren't allowed to do what they need to do to stop a riot or someone from taking over. A 6-block radius. If they do, then stuff can get out of hand, and then you have more firings, more assault charges for cops. So right now, the whole situation is pretty screwed up. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, it can't last. Eventually, it's gonna collapse. I don't know how it's gonna collapse, and I don't know how long. Eventually, it will collapse. But as far as like police encounters,
well, hold on, their wings are clipped right now because of what's going on. We have too many officers that are going overboard in a scenario where it doesn't call to go overboard, and now we need some officers to go that extra overboard. Because we have a block taken over, they don't know who's who.
We don't have protocol for that situation.
Absolutely not. We don't have protocol for the pandemic until now.
And if they end up killing somebody, then the riots are going to start all over again. They have to be careful right now. Yeah, it's this weird balance. They can't go overboard right now.
Yeah, it's not a balance. It's this weird. There's no balance to it. Like the pendulum is going way too fast.
Well, right now, what's crazy is all these stories coming up from like a few years ago.
Yeah.
That are starting to come to surface because of public pressure. Similar situations of like George Floyd or things like that.
What's the kid in Colorado?
Elijah McClain.
Elijah McClain? Who's that?
So I think Danny knows more about it, but he was a kid who got Colorado.
Apparently this kid is like a gentle soul. It's like a lot of right arguments are, with George Floyd. Well, he pointed a gun at a pregnant woman's belly, and we talked about that last
long time ago, yeah.
This kid,
he did nothing.
This is model citizen. He
played the violin.
Played the violin
for
to his
animals.
cats. He was autistic. He was wearing a ski mask because he's anemic, so he gets cold really fast. Plus, he's in Aurora, Colorado, so it's probably cold as well. He had headphones on, so somebody called and said he looked suspicious. All he was doing was walking home. So the cops rolled up on him. They told him to turn around. He didn't hear them, so they tackled him. They fought with him. They said he tried to reach for their gun. Apparently, he died. The paramedics came and they injected him with ketamine.
Yeah, the cops wrestled him with him for like 15 minutes. They held him down, and they choked him. Yeah. The whole time he was saying that he was trying to plead his case. So he was saying,
I can't breathe right.
Sorry,
he can't breathe. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything wrong. He was telling a bunch of other stuff. He was saying that he's a vegetarian, but he doesn't judge people that eat meat. He was trying really hard.
He was basically telling everything about everything good about him.
For his life, yeah.
Trying to talk his way out of basically what happened.
How old was he?
Died.
I
think he was like 15 or 16 or something like that. So this is a sad story, and believe me, I don't want to bring this up and shed more bad light on cops because I know there's cops and
it wasn't the police that killed him, but necessarily
Not
they took it too
They
far.
shot him up with ketamine in the
It was
ambulance.
an
and
ambulance. Yeah,
he was put on life support, and they pulled it
Yeah,
after
he had a
3
heart
days. He
attack.
had brain damage.
He had a heart attack on the way to the hospital.
It's just a terrible.
But it was way more
situation.
ketamine that should have been allowed for his body weight.
That too, yeah. So definitely some things need to be done. The thing is, he would have never been shot up with ketamine if he wasn't tackled to the ground and wrestled and hurt for basically just walking down the road.
Oh, and also they turned off their cameras. They had cameras on. They turned them off most of the time, and they didn't turn in the camera footage till I think like at least a month later.
And the police report again was saying, nothing happened, this and that. It was just covered up.
Well, they said he reached for his gun.
What was that?
Then the report said that they were justified, the officers.
Yeah,
They justified themselves.
Yeah, basically. It'd be like if you went to college and got to grade your own papers.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I could do that right now.
why do cops get to grade themselves all the time? I mean, I know they're the ones there, but there needs to be an oversight committee because all of us would give ourselves a good grade. And what would you not say? If you put a bunch of people in jail and you're being faced with jail, what would you not say to not get yourself out of jail? Like anything, really.
Yeah, but what are you going to say to somebody who sees red? And that's the thing. An officer sees red. And when you see red, you just go bull. You're going to go crazy. And it's a PTSD thing. It's another example of our screening process isn't working properly, and that's not screening just to get into the police department, but while they're there, what's their mental state?
They should probably have checkups. I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't. Maybe they should have checkups every now and then for their PTSD.
It's hard to say.
I think they have. I don't know all the details, but I think they have like a psychiatry sessions or therapy
Absolutely
sessions
they do,
when you
yeah.
fire your weapon, stuff like that. But do they have it if you don't have incidents? Do you still have that therapy? Because even if you have all good reports and you actually are a good cop, there's stuff you see every day that's got to be, take a toll on your mind.
Yeah, if you see a dead body, you didn't shoot it, but it's dead, then you don't.
Yeah.
Do you get therapy then?
God forbid, the worst things is crimes with kids involved. That's the worst thing I could think of.
Absolutely, that really hit home. It's hard to even talk about it.
Yeah.
My son is on the spectrum, and every time I think of that, I think back to that shooter who was on the spectrum. His parents had died. He had went to his uncle's aunt's house.
Florida, I think the Florida shooter.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and the first thing I said about him was, man, they should just kill this guy, because I was working on that reptilian. I didn't know anything about the kid. And then come back and find out the kid's on the spectrum. His parents had died. His uncle and aunt are raising him. I'll tell you right now, I love my kid to death because it's my own kid. I mean, I love kids, but I don't like them like that. But you know what I'm saying. Anyways, so I know how hard it is still, because it's very frustrating at times when somebody who's on the spectrum doesn't understand what you're saying and goes into a certain, there's modes. And the spectrum is all different for kids. But this kid, I felt sorry for him. And he was a shooter, I get it. But he was also on the spectrum.
There's quite a few video footage of people on the spectrum, and they have lights and they have guns pointed at them, and they're just trying to cover up their ears, and maybe they might be stepping in place, and that's enough for some officers to read that as aggressive when they really should understand and see the signs of what that actually is.
Yeah, they're
and I have another family member that has autistic children, and they always say, that person should have done this or that. But it's like, you should understand that your kid might not do that in that scenario.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen next in that poor kid.
When they're overwhelmed. What's it called when they're overwhelmed?
Stimming. Yeah, so if you ever see a child who puts his hands over his ears, they rock back and forth, they make noises, he'll roll his head in a big circle. It's hard for you to see because we're on a podcast.
And sometimes, don't they like, a lot of times they don't want to be touched or hugged or something or comforted?
Yeah. If I go to give my son a kiss, even in his sleep, his sleep reflex is to jerk away. Like, oh, don't touch my face. Don't get near my face.
I saw a meme that was perfect for this. It was a meme made out of a meme. So somebody made a meme of a guy. The guy, this. I'm not saying this is autistic, but there was a guy had a mental breakdown, and he was naked in a fighting stance on a dock. And there was police officers, and they said, oh, people want to defund the police, and they want a social worker to deal with this. And then someone else took that meme and said, yeah, that's exactly who we want dealing with this, is a trained social worker who understands different mental divergencies. Yeah. And can talk the person down rather than shooting and tasing and, giving them extra PTSD.
You're gonna
Maybe every police car should be like a team of people.
Yeah.
It could be like a limo, so they could put the prisoners in the third row. You're gonna have like a psychiatrist, two cops, a sniper.
a bus shows up to every
call.
like what? Get a kitten out of a tree.
Dr. Wexler, you need to handle this one. I don't know if we're trained for this.
Absolutely, and all of those people have to be smashed into one cop's mind.
Yeah.
That's almost impossible. You need these. Like, if you want to be a cop, you have to be a genius. 142 and over.
I guess if
so that way you have all the guns and
I guess
you
if
take
a
over the
911
world.
call comes in, it could be up to the operator to go, hey, we need a psychologist and a police officer there. Or maybe we just need a police officer. Or maybe we just need a social worker.
Well, that's the problem is too many of these wellness calls are ending, not too many, because I'm sure there's a million of them, and you only see like 3 or 4 bad ones. But some of these wellness calls end up worse. You know, like, hey, I think this person's going to hurt themselves. And then you read the story, well, the cop went over there and shot him. It's like, it kind of defeated the purpose of why I called you.
Oh, yeah, I saw one video footage
Toronto?
of I don't remember where it was, but there was a lady had called the cops on her son who had a mental problem. He was off his meds, and she just wanted him controlled. She didn't want him arrested. She just needed some help. He wasn't violent towards anybody in particular, and the cops came in and just shot him.
Yeah.
So how bad does she feel that she called the cops, and
Yeah.
that was the result? She had no expectation that they would shoot him.
She would have never called the cops, obviously, if she'd known that was going to be the outcome.
I don't know if he was on drugs or off his drugs. I don't really know.
I thought that he was like on cocaine or something like that.
I mean, yeah, come on
I don't know
now.
if it's the same guy, but I think the dude was like, but I mean, even
That being said,
I think he had some conditions though.
yeah, he had.
I had a lady throw ice at me, and I was holding my 2-year-old, who was 1 at the time, and she was yelling at everybody going in and out of the Albertsons. So I go inside, and the cops come in there. They look for me. They find me. The manager says, that's him. And they said, do you want to press charges? This lady threw ice at you. And I said, no, I want her taken somewhere where they can help her, because obviously she's either on drugs or she's off her meds or something's not right? And they said, well, we can take her to jail, but we're not set up. It's not a mental facility. And there's nothing really, is there anything set up for this woman? You know, obviously there wasn't. There were cops there, and if they're not going to bonk her on the dome piece with their baton, then they could take her to jail if I press charges. And maybe that's the step she needed. I didn't. They did take her away either way. But the thing was, what's there for her? What's there for that guy standing on the sidewalk yelling at the top of his lungs?
A lot of these people are definitely either on drugs or off their meds, because I do see it all the time. Like,
so the mental department that takes care of mentally sick people, like, that needs to be a thing.
Well,
They're working together with a police officer.
Well, guns. I personally think we can't get rid of. There's just too many of them already.
Yeah.
So we can't just
There's
not
too many
have
already
guns.
here.
And we have to change the concept. It's not going to happen right now. So we will take that off the table, taking guns away.
Yeah.
But our police officers
Thank
have
you.
guns. Our police officers have guns. So the police officers in Britain don't have guns. So they have to use their intelligence. I wish our officers would use their intelligence first and then guns, if they needed to.
Yeah.
But some get too quickly to grab their gun out.
yeah.
So maybe
They don't
most
have-
police officers should not have guns.
Well,
certain
I've
shifts.
seen certain tactics that a lot of
I've
British
even got pulled
officers
over
do
where a
use.
cop just holds his gun.
He's got his hand on his gun the whole
ready to
time.
go.
Man.
I've
And then
had-
he goes
I've had
license
that.
and registration, and then what do?
You put your hands on the dashboard, and then he's like, license and registration. So you're thinking automatically,
You're gonna reach for
I
it.
need my license and registration. So you go for your fucking license and registration.
Which is in
And
your,
you say, hey, what are you doing?
Which is next to your
And
gun.
He right again goes for his fucking gun, and you're just like, whoa, bro, you just
Yeah, that's a
you
weird.
just asked me license and registration. You
Yeah.
might not have said, let me see it, but you said license and registration. What else do you mean?
And that's happened.
Yeah, that's
It's happened to me.
Castillo.
Yeah,
That's a
it's-
weird scenario where the exact places the 2 places you would have your gun are the 2 places you have to get your registration from, which is your pocket or your glove box.
Yeah.
And I just want to say real fast, because I think this is important. I don't know how other people perceive me, but I think I look white. I'm half brown, but I have glasses. I'm just an artist. So
your
I probably-
blonde hair.
Blonde hair.
Yeah.
So
it's
You
dead
look
giveaway.
white- You look
Yeah.
white, but you also look like there's a little bit Asian in
Something
you.
in
yeah,
you.
it's,
Because of
people.
the
People are like, oh, he's white and something.
Yeah.
But for my experiences with officers, I've been given a hard time, but not.
I think to
can't
the
complain.
naked eye, though, we
Like-
look white.
Yeah, I can't.
Like,
Well, I think
completely white.
White people look in broad terms, so do white people. They see white.
Yeah.
and that's the important thing when it comes to police officers. But one time I didn't even get pulled over, but I got 10 fix-it tickets because the police officer was mad and he gave me a hard time. And then another time I got pulled out of my car and frisked. And then another time Oh, the cop grabbed his gun because he saw my shoes and they had spikes on them. He goes, "Do you have any weapons?" I said, "No." And he goes, he saw my shoes and he goes, "I thought you said I had no weapons." But I can't complain because that police officer actually also gave me a ride to the gas station. So wow. I thought since I've gotten a hard time, everybody gets a hard time because I got a hard time. But then I realized my hard time probably wasn't as bad. It could have been worse.
Yeah, it wasn't really worse.
Way worse. Yeah,
and I think a lot of white people see it that way. They're like, "Oh, I got a ticket once," or "Cop gave me attitude once." But whereas I might have just gotten frisked, someone else might have got hit or cuffed or taken in, and that's where I think a lot of white people get stuck. Like I was stuck there for a while, thinking, "Oh, we all get treated the same," because they don't necessarily like me either. I was young. When you're young, they don't really like you. They know they can push you around, but then you get older and they actually give you less of a hard time. Especially if you have a nice car.
And the older you get,
I've gotten off with a nicer car.
Well, they don't
yeah,
fuck with me.
that's
Actually,
true.
Hey, if you have a clean car,
And
the
you
inside.
have to have a clean car.
Yeah, if you have a clean car,
nice
they
clean
always.
car,
One time an officer asked me, even though I look like a nerd, asked me if I was a drug dealer, and I was like, "What?" He goes,
awesome.
"Can I search your car?" I'm like, "You can search everything you want to."
Everything more than your car.
Because you could.
Was he hot or what?
Kind of suggestively.
Wait, you guys know.
Whatever gets me out of a ticket.
I'm disorganized.
You got a fireman, buddy?
So they told me. He goes, "Yeah, because only drug dealers have cars this messy."
Oh.
Because I was carrying all my art shit.
That's
If
a
he actually looked
stereotype.
at it, he would have seen like
I've known
canvases and paintbrushes.
It's all-
Yeah,
Some drug
It's all
dealers
all the
with
drug
nice
dealers.
cars.
It
all the
depends
drug
on the
dealer
drug.
artists.
It depends on the drug. Some drugs make you clean your car.
Make you have projects.
I'm telling you, some drugs you'll clean the shit out of your car.
So it's important if you've been a white person, you've given a hard time, you might have gotten the next level if you weren't white.
You know what? We can all come to one agreement. Not all of us, but I mean, for the most part, I think except for Jesse getting hassled up.
Yeah.
We don't know how a lot of people, we get to be a fly on the wall in scenarios like when I'm with Daryl, and Daryl gets fucked with all the time. And
What John's done, so we helped out my dad with his business. I've done the job, John's done the job, my dad's done the job, several other people have, and our Uncle Daryl has done the job, and he's the only black one that's done this job.
and he gets
And
rolled up.
he's the nicest guy.
And you know what? He'll be sweeping the glass up after he put a board in the window. It's a board up company. And they'll pull up and say, "What are you doing here?" And he's got a broom and a dustpan. And he's sweeping his like,
Get down.
OCD robber.
I just had to
Nobody will
clean it
notice
up.
if I board it up.
I don't want kids to get cut. No, that's
Guilty for
my
robbing this
iPad.
place, and I didn't want to leave a mess.
And that sounds just like Uncle Daryl.
That's his voice.
Talks like this.
Talks like this.
Jake,
He's all shit. I'm cleaning up the glass. And they're like,
Get
well,
that
come
shorty
here.
40.
Yeah. Come here and we're going to put cuffs on you and put you on the curb. Just make sure. But when I've showed up smoking a joint, rolled the window down, was like, "Oh shit, it's fucking cop on the site." You know, why are you here? It's 4 a.m. I get there, it's a fucking marijuana bus, so he thinks it's funny. He's like, "Oh, fucking guy pulled up to fix the window, boarded up, is smoking probably the same shit that they're growing in this spot." This is back in the day when they were shutting these things.
Yeah, John
down.
used to smoke on the job. That was your favorite part.
I smoked on the everything.
Before and after to celebrate.
Yeah, I'm smoking right now.
But there's accidents sometimes in this because you drive a lot, and you're driving with people that aren't necessarily good drivers. A bump happens, somebody bumps you or pulls in front of you, and when we've gone to the side of the road, exchange information, leave. But people drive by and they see Daryl and he's black, and they call the cops saying somebody's trying to steal a car.
Somebody's trying to steal his car. Yeah. Him.
Never happened to us.
It doesn't help that he doesn't have keys and he's made it so you have to hotwire his El Camino. That doesn't help. I want to tell you some
It
truth.
doesn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you're all, let me get out of here, officer.
All of it might not just be racial bias.
I gotta climb in the.
Well,
I'm gonna do,
even just
dude.
going to the store, like we went to the gas station, he got there first. We were going to use the company card on both of our gas.
Yeah.
And by the time I got there, a lady was yelling at him to leave the gas station because he wasn't buying. He just got there.
Wow.
He wasn't buying gas yet. She just wanted him to leave.
Wow.
And he was trying to tell her, the company card is arriving. We're going to buy gas. Don't worry about it.
That happened at that Starbucks like a year ago. I don't know if you saw it, but there was 2 black guys waiting for their friend, a white dude. And so they took a seat and they're waiting for their friend to get there so they could all order coffees and have their little business meeting. So one of the employees called the cops because he said there's two black guys and they're not ordering anything. So the cops
that's
came
right.
and let
The
them away in
Starbucks.
cuffs. It's like,
Jesus.
and then Starbucks had to close down for like an afternoon to
Why couldn't they? Why?
to their employees.
Why wasn't it enough to say that they weren't, that nothing wrong was happening? Why did they have to cuff them?
That's what I'm saying.
It's a social stigma that needs to be washed out.
But there also needs to be maybe
a threat.
Maybe a punishment. Or,
They were a threat?
Or maybe ignoring when people
yeah, they
call
obviously
cops
thought
on
they
black
were a
people
threat.
for doing nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
if you look at it too, like Starbucks probably gives a discount to officers. Officers have an extra duty to the places that they hang out, and they're incentivized to visit and police. So maybe if a manager is like, hey, need this taken care of, they will, because that's their spot.
Possibly.
Was it a loitering law?
Well,
I mean, it depends on the area.
I think that's what they were saying. They were like, these guys are loitering, they're not ordering anything, but they were like, we're waiting for a friend to come so we could all put in our order together. But at that point, it had gone too far, and the cops were there, and they got let off in handcuffs. So just stuff like that. And that's the thing. You do get a lot of people who sometimes would be like, well, the cops don't treat me that way. And it's like, well, yeah. There's a reason for that.
Well, I think that's...
Show us a little bit of empathy and just realize it doesn't work that way always on the other side. You just don't see it.
I think that's where systematic can come in, and some people believe in it, some people don't, and even people here might feel different ways about it. But I think systematic, what it actually means is you cannot be racist at all, and just the system is unfair, and you don't realize that you're actually playing into. Let's say you're an officer, and you can get away with pushing extra hard on somebody of color, brown or black. So you see a white kid, and you're like, okay, he might have a family lawyer. This family's going to give me a hard time. But then you see a brown kid or a black kid, and you're like, maybe he doesn't have a father, maybe he doesn't have a family lawyer. I'm having a bad day. This kid's going to get it. And they'll justify it by saying, oh, I'm going to push on him to teach him a lesson. But what he's really doing is creating bitterness within that generation, of being treated unfairly.
Yep.
It could be a feeling of feeling like they're giving justice or, spanking, basically.
And that's the thing. One little incident can spur a series of events that will create extremism, That next thing you know, that kid can grow up to be throwing a Molotov cocktail in a cop's car during a riot or a protest because all these bad incidents that they've had personally.
Yeah, I think that's what America does in general, is get so caught up in their justice, they probably go around creating bitterness in people that they deal with inside and outside.
Yeah.
That comes back to haunt on the next generation. That they don't that didn't actually do the problem. It was the generation before that created that bitterness or those issues.
I feel like we're here like every 10 to 20 years, though. It seems to keep happening.
Yeah.
Like every 10 to 20 years, after this, it'll calm down for a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then, watch, you'll see, in 2030.
Well, in the last several years...
But do you think that the time in between these bigger incidents occur, that's getting a longer period of time, so that pendulum is kind of... Or is it getting a shorter period of time? If it's getting longer, that means we're getting a little better at it. Even though we're not good at it at all.
We have to measure, and actually, yeah, it is getting more documented.
What we were talking about earlier. There was a new story that just came out where these two cops were caught on tape during an audio audit of their police car, and they didn't know that it was recording. The
dash cam was recording.
Yeah, the dash cam was recording, and the cop was saying, we need a race war to get rid of all these F and N words off the streets.
What do you mean by N word?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say it.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good.
I do the editing. I'll take it out.
I can paraphrase.
Okay.
Anyways, but yeah, they were saying things like that, and they wanted to. I think they.
I like the Louis. What was that Louis C.K. bit, John?
What was it? I don't.
Is when you say N word, you're making them say it in their head. Take responsibility for your own shitty word on the news when they say the N word. They're making you say it in your
head. You say it in your head.
Yeah, I'm still not gonna say it.
Not even in my head.
Yeah. So there's stuff like that happening.
You can call somebody a Nazi. And that's an actual bad thing. And I don't say
that
N-word.
That should be the other N-word.
Right. You should say the N-word. And they're like, you mean Nazi? Because those guys are terrible. But no. It doesn't mean that. Of course, I don't think that the Nazis were rolling around with their homies like, what is up, Nazi?
I think
what's up, my Nazi?
Are we the baddies?
Are we the baddies? What is up, Nazi? All the Nazis in the house say, hey.
So have you seen that there was a skit where the Nazis are realizing that they're one of the Nazis out of a bunch of them was like, are we the baddies? Like we have little skulls on our cap. That's not necessarily a good thing. Are the good guys supposed to have skulls on their emblems? And then the guy's like, oh no, skulls are cool. They're fine. And then but later on, is one of the sides gonna realize they're the baddies?
Somebody in there had to realize, like, that's a real thought. And somebody's like, I don't think we should be shooting them, and then just shoot them. I was thinking of a German. I don't know a German. None. 0. 9. Mr. 9. I used to do the Ahnold.
9.
I like to say, come here, 9. I'll tickle you.
Come on, do it.
Come on, do it.
Come on, I'm right here.
Get to the chopper. Come here. This girl will chop everybody up here.
Is it everyone can do an Arnold impersonation?
Yeah. I know. I just do it best. Come here. My nipples are tingly. Come here, tickle you. I'll lick your eyeball. I'm into it. I'm kinky. Come here.
Has a cop ever pulled someone over and just did the whole thing in an Arnold accent?
That'd be dope.
That would be awesome.
License and registration. Hurry up.
I got pulled over by a really attractive cop one time.
I like that.
And she
A guy cop that was really attractive?
No, yeah, he was very muscular. He obviously worked out.
Nice calves.
No, a very pretty girl. Like a very pretty. I'm like, damn, am I getting punked? What's going on?
Yeah.
But so she.
You think it's fake?
And she searched me and she put her hand in my pants, like just
Hell
kinda, like,
yeah.
She just kind of like just went in just a little bit, like in my waistline. And I was telling the story to a friend one time, and he's like, "Yeah, they're not allowed to do that. It's supposed to be a guy cop for guys and a
But
girl
you're not
cop
gonna
for girls."
complain, though.
Yeah, like what am I gonna do? I'm gonna stop and ask for her sergeant, the guy with the
Bring
big
me
hands
a
to go
man.
over.
Did
You
Yeah,
say,
like,
are
I
you
wasn't
gonna cuff me?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna stop. It was pretty awesome. That was the only time I was down with the.
Did she have like
police crossing the
handcuffs, but they had like fur on them?
No,
It was like, come here.
no. She was just like, I was very surprised she was a cop. Like she could have been a mom.
Yeah, I thought I was being punked
Or a
one time. I got funny story. I think you remember this. I got pulled over because Daryl was driving my car, and when they pulled me over, they thought it was Daryl driving the car, and somebody called on him. There's this guy. He does drive fast, a little crazy.
Really fast.
So they call on him. I leave with the car, and you're not a black guy when she pulls me over, and it's 2 chicks.
You're not black.
Yeah, 2 hot chicks, and I'm like, this is fake. And one of them was getting in my face, and I'm like, where's the camera at? And I'm like, you're liking this, aren't you? And she's getting more pissed because I'm not taking her serious. and then she's like, get back in the car, and then that's when she found the joint in the visor, and get this. She's like, you didn't know about this. And I'm like, no, actually, I would have smoked it if I knew about it. I would have been smoking it right now.
That's where I put that.
And
Looking for that
it
for
wasn't
weeks.
mine. Daryl stuffed it up there for me like, hey, Jay's going to like this later. And I did. Well, she took it. But they gave him a ticket. Him. And that's what's crazy. That is
Wait, he wasn't even in the car?
No, it was his car. But he wasn't in the car. But all the stuff was to him. So they gave him the ticket. And I went home, and he was crashing at the pad at the time. And so I'm like, D, you got a ticket. Why is that, Jay? Wow, because he had joint in the visor, and they took it, and it's like, shit. But he got a ticket. And I don't even know if you're supposed to be able to do that.
Can you do that?
No, I don't know. No, they gave Daryl the ticket.
But they just mailed it in, or did they give you a ticket to give to him?
They wrote his name, and they had all the registration, whatever, information.
But you have to be there to sign for a ticket, don't you?
I think I signed it.
Yeah, but he has to sign it.
Well, I don't know, but I did. She's all signed here. I'm like, all
'Cause
right.
it's an
I
admission
thought
that
it was my
you will go
ticket.
to court
So
if you
they
want to
gave
fight it.
you
Dude, he's
a ticket
to
for
give to him.
Yeah, it was in his name.
Fuck?
That's
and check.
illegal.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that
probably
can't
so.
be
You can't do
Probably
that.
so.
Can't be.
What city was that?
Wait. Did
He
you
never paid it too, and it was awesome. And then he had to stay at Huntington Beach for like forever, and then it just dropped off. And
Did you sign your name or his name?
I signed my name. I don't,
Okay,
I just smoked a joint. I didn't know there's
So I have
two.
one more
That could
topic.
have been
How
fun.
do you guys feel about the police departments where you've lived?
I
So-
like Garden Grove Police Department. I hate to say where I live.
They put me on gang watch in Capo
Well, I
Beach.
mean, Capo Beach.
Yeah.
Costa Mesa's they don't mess around.
So would you say they're good or bad or okay?
I don't have
Competent?
any experience. At my age, I don't have experience.
I to be honest, I haven't had any problems with them. I see them all the time.
So, okay.
I've had good experiences with them.
I actually had a cop come up to me just a couple days ago, and he had a picture on his phone of a man that was missing. And I said I knew him because I had seen him around.
In Long Beach?
No, yeah, this
Yeah.
one's in Long Beach. And so I told the guy, hey, if we see him, cops, I'll text you the number. And so now I have his number. You know, and I just saved it under cop looking for guy because I don't know if they're not wearing their badge name things or if he filed this down, but I couldn't see it. Like I kept looking at it, like, what's his name? I'm gonna
Serial
put it down,
number.
Hey, is
officer.
this cop looking for guy?
Yeah, cop looking for
think I found the
him. Just want to see if you're cool. Like if I mean, you know. But anyways, so That guy was cool as hell. He was looking for dementia. I mean,
He was very concerned.
Yeah.
very concerned.
So
He was actually doing his job.
How do you guys feel about cops drinking and driving? Because this
I've heard about
happens a lot, and I could witness that.
While they're on the
So
job,
I've
or
worked in a lot of bars, and I've seen cops come in and
On duty, off duty.
I was
duty, but like right after a shift.
When I was living in Colorado,
Oh, shit, don't we all?
there was a cop who pulled me over, and I was speeding. You know, I got a speeding ticket.
which we all
Yeah,
did.
which all
I've
done.
had a few.
And this dude got actually fucking caught drinking and driving. He got in an accident.
The same cop?
The same cop. And
Right after he gave you a ticket?
well, I don't know. I was probably before he
Just
gave
drove
me.
off and crashed into a car?
He was on the job.
It was on the job.
Oh,
but
wow.
He was on the job, but he gave me the ticket before he got into the DUI. But the fact that he got a DUI, I got my shit turned around.
Oh,
They
wow.
dropped my
Really?
shit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, everything he did that day
Yeah,
probably got dropped.
Wow.
Yeah, because
He used to take it to court. I'm
Well-
like, yeah, when he wrote me the ticket, I could have swore I smelled some whiskey on his breath, or you know.
So-
Hey, that's a good way to get out of a ticket.
So
right?
maybe I'm not supposed to say this.
crazy
I've,
that
I've heard this through a person, or maybe not that far.
Okay.
That there are certain bars that
I
are,
believe
are
it.
marked for that it's okay for police to drive home from those bars. That those paths are okay.
I'm sure, and when you hear stuff like this, it's not for everywhere, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
But
everywhere.
yeah, there could be like small towns. I mean, a lot of bars, like in some places, are owned by cops, like retired cops, fur cops.
What,
the same
I-
way the fire department does the same stuff.
What the peninsula is full of bars, and there's only one way out is to drive or Uber.
Over at Balboa.
Yeah, but they're probably stricter now that there's Uber.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people got away with driving.
There's just the ferry,
home
and then
from
you got to
that.
drive by that little.
There's just the path onto the peninsula
Yeah.
and off. Oh no, the 55.
Yeah, it's like I think the street's called "Cop Come This Way," like the way "Cop Come."
They
this.
never set up a checkpoint on the. On the
Honestly,
exit
Cop
of the
Come
peninsula.
this.
With
Wait.
Uber, there's if you can afford to drink at a bar, you could afford to Uber.
Yeah.
There really shouldn't be any reason why people are like drinking too much and driving.
Or call a cop car buddy.
But like I said,
That'd be so fun.
but I have seen.
Can you do the
cops-
siren?
I have seen cops all roll in after a shift. You know, get a group of like there's like 7 or 8 of them, and sit there and get pictures and shot, hang out for like 2 or 3 hours, and be like, all right, see you later, and then I watch them all get in the car and drive off. Not you know. Not, this
I
is
watched
years
the guy
ago.
try to put his keys in the door for like 10 minutes. We were gonna stop him if he got in, but he had it was the back door.
Was it a cop?
No, it was the back door. There was no keyhole.
You said it was a cop though?
No, it wasn't a cop. No, I'm sorry. This is just a guy.
So, hey.
Civilian.
There was
Yeah.
there was no hole in the back door.
There's no hose in the back door. No, there was
In
no
the wall.
keyhole
So
in the back door.
Did tell the story about Joyce.
So he
slapping
gave it
an
up, went
officer.
back in there.
Didn't cousin Joyce slap a cop or something at some point?
She did. She
Assault.
Well, we were outside. It was after the bar closed down. It was me. This girl I was trying to mac down with. I forget her name. And Joyce, my sister, and the cop was flirty. Did something with her. Was gonna let us go, but I was telling her, please stop messing with this guy because I had been drinking some and I'm driving.
It was like
And-
after a club or something.
But she walked up. No, she pulled his badge off. You remember that? And she walked up, pulled his badge off or something like that. She did something crazy.
Yeah, this is the first time I
Yeah.
heard this story.
And then he flirted with her because she was flirting with him, probably to get us out of the ticket. She got us free drinks that night too, by the way. And when he flirted, he did something. She slapped his face, and he's like, he got mad, but he said, "Get the hell out of here."
Yeah, he said he's driving, isn't he? Because he knew Joyce had drank too much.
Yeah, you're driving, right? And I said, "Yeah."
Probably because he liked her though too.
Yeah, I mean, she was pretty. This is,
So
Well,
he let
that's
it
the danger of
slide.
a girl who knows how pretty she is.
Yeah.
There was another time where she did a U-turn in front of a police officer.
free drink mentality.
Her aunt was in the car. That's how we know. Joyce was driving, and she had done an illegal U-turn in front of a police officer. Instead of getting a ticket, she got a police escort to IKEA because she said she was lost.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I mean, privilege exists somehow,
people have
somewhere.
different experiences. Beautiful people.
What you look like and what
always
you
get
are
away with whatever. They
have
they-
little to do with it. So
Yeah.
we don't mean to. I don't know how it came off today because we have to re-listen. But I always get afraid we're talking bad about police officers
bashing
too much.
cops Too much. Yeah.
Does anybody have anything good to say? Any good experiences or outlook?
I think a lot of us know, and just in general, a lot of people know cops, and most of them that I know, if not all of them that I know, are good people. They're super cool. Steve, you were talking about a social experiment of some sort where they put people into a cop scenario, and 2 out of 3 cop scenarios the civilian who was put in the same position a police officer would
what was it?
pulled the trigger, shot or something, right?
Oh yeah, it was like a community activist.
Yeah, it was one of these viral videos. I'm sure most of you have probably seen it, but at the end, he changed his perception of some of these situations because you do fear for your life.
Who's he? Like
Danny said, a community activist. I think he's done some protests. Maybe he's a reverend. I forget exactly.
This is from a few years ago. This video.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this video. A lot of these officers have families, and they want to go home alive, etc. So I mean, there is a lot to take in, to consider, and it's just a very fine line. And when you're approached by police officers, I'm always paranoid. Put my hands on the dash. I roll down my window, put my hands on the dash, and I just wait for further instructions. And just hope that the police officer I'm dealing with doesn't have some sort of ill will towards me or people in general. And it sucks because you don't want to live in fear. Police officers are just serve and protect, but at the same time, self-preservation takes over.
Yeah, and I know that I sit here and I talk, and I've never served in the military. I could never be a cop. I don't want people. You don't want me having a badge necessarily. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm not good at, and I have to respect people that do those jobs. Those are hard jobs, and it's not easy. And
maybe those ones
I'm afraid of those jobs to do myself.
Absolutely,
definitely, I do agree. They have a very tough job, and it's hard.
It's hard to say, but maybe the ones that don't want the badge, some of those should be police officers.
Yeah,
they know.
There's not very many reluctant hero police officers. You have to kind of want that job. But there are many good ones who I've had good interactions with. One officer, I told him I was filming a horror film, and I didn't have a license, and he was policing that area.
And so he just shot somebody who was like, dude, this is going to be scary as shit.
Well, so if you're in LA and you're guerrilla filming, the officers, the police officers, they kind of have to tell you, especially in LA, you need a license. Because there's liabilities and things like that, and people there's a lot of stuff to go, there's lawsuits and stuff like that. But it was in Santa Ana, and the police officer just was like, he laughed. I said, I got to carry a body in a fake dead body in a wheelchair with a chainsaw and a bunch of stuff over here to the alley and film something. And he just laughed. He's like, okay, cool.
Did he watch?
I don't know. He was around. His job was to be right there for a whole shift.
Yeah, I would have watched, chilled, and been like, oh, it's cool. Let me hold the camera.
He was down. He was like, he thought that was fun to be filming something. So.
Hell yeah. Could have done a first person shooter if he held his gun out in the camera.
Yeah. I could have put him in the film. But he could have shut me down.
Yeah, and he would have gotten in trouble for that. And you know what?
I could have got a ticket for that, yeah.
And he could have gotten in trouble for that,
Oh, yeah, he could have. Yeah, he took a chance on me.
Yeah, I would too.
and it worked out good. Anybody else have anything to say about police officers?
Is there a shelf life on police officers?
Yeah.
That shelf life is, and it has to be watched, okay, this guy's getting a little too overboard. Is overboard necessary in a lot of scenarios? It is. We don't live any of those scenarios. We don't live the gang unit's life when they're dealing with gang members all the time.
I don't want 15, 20 years out of a guy who's going to be a great cop for the first 10 or so. I want that 10 years, and then...
And it's so hard because people change. There'll be somebody who's hardcore and they're going a little too hard charger at first, and later on they mellow out and they become what they should be, where they find that balance. And a lot of times it's hard to go through something without any PTSD where you start to hate people. That's what it boils down to. When you start to hate people in general, you need to get out of it. And a lot of these, they're going to have to make that decision on themselves. But when it comes to somebody who was searching for adventure, a lot of police officers are searching for adventure. They want something more in their life than sitting behind a desk or sitting behind a barber chair, standing or whatever, or, typing or whatever. All those jobs that are not cops. They don't even want to be firemen. I think the cops and firemen, they have this animosity towards each other sometimes. Kind of like the Navy and the Marines.
Yeah.
Like, I hate you firemen. We need a calendar too.
Because nobody
makes a
loves
calendar.
Firemen. I think it's like a jealousy.
Yeah, they save kitties from trees.
I forgot who it was, but it said, nope, there's no song called Fuck the Fire Department.
Yeah. That's true.
Or any other, not even the DMV have that song. We all hate the DMV.
We all hate it, yeah. I think it's a universal hate, too.
Okay, start that song.
Rappers, get on that.
Or even the IRS.
Yeah, right? Yeah, they probably have a song out there somewhere. There's got to be a line of Fuck the IRS somewhere. Yeah.
It was recorded by MC Hammer.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, he's got a
and
personal
Willie
trainer.
Nelson and Wesley Snipes.
It's a whole duet.
The trio? That'd be dope, huh? It'd be a duet, but
It's
Wesley
like We Are the
Snipes.
World, but a universal hatred for the IRS.
Yeah. They'd be a duet, but Wesley Snipes would do all the dancing, but really he would just do his whole killing vampire deal. Like him go through that whole scene when he kills 90 vampires in that warehouse. But no vampires are chasing him. He's just doing Close your eyes and picture what
There was that one bad guy wrestler. His name was Erwin R. Shyster.
Erwin R. Shyster.
I don't remember that one.
It was a short run. So we'll end here.
Yeah, let's wrap it
Everybody
up.
say, this is a wrap.
Oh, yeah, we got Jesse. Say later. And then we got Stevie.
Thanks for having me.
That's right. Danny boy.
Always fun. Love having this.
If you're in Long Beach or near Long Beach, Ohana Barbers is our sponsor. So check them out.
Check them out, right?
Check out my art site. David Pursley. I also go by Kavika for my illustrations. Kavika.
Check out my memes on Facebook. They're funny.
Check out my abs. I got one and it's big.
All you need is one.
All you need is one,
need is
baby.
one.
Signing off from the dirt.
Peace.
The altar, she supposed, and on it was Hector.
Is the throne empty? Is the king dead? The empire unpossessed?
Off with his head.
You got me going in circles.